This one belief that I'm going to talk to you about today can really just fuck up your life if you don't get this right. Watch this video to make sure you don't fall into this also common mindset trap. Those who think you can and those who think you can't are both usually right. This is a great quote by Confucius, and it's quite pertinent for today's video, which is about mindset. This is a book by Dweck, who is a professor of psychology at Stanford University, and she's been studying the relationship between what we believe about our abilities and what we can achieve, our performance, essentially. She's come up with these two labels. One of them is growth mindset and one of them is fixed mindset. And she says that if you are in a growth mindset, then you'll be much more likely to reach your potential. In school, you'll get higher test results. In business, you'll be more likely to create successful companies. In relationships, you'll be more likely to build a relationship that lasts, that stays the course of time. So this growth mindset thing can actually permeate into all sorts of areas of your life, and it's all about this one core belief. And the core belief is, I believe that abilities can be cultivated over time. I believe that I can improve my ability. If you come from a place of fixed mindset, then you have the core belief that I believe my abilities are fixed. You're just born with them. You either have it or you don't. And this can be very limiting. So let's delve into a little more detail about the problem with the fixed mindset. So the real problem with the fixed mindset is you're basically coming at this from the viewpoint of victimhood. You have this victim mentality. You're basically saying that if you have a fixed mindset, you're at the mercy of your genetics. And that kind of removes all responsibility from yourself. It's just like, I'm not born this way, therefore I'm not good at this, so there's nothing I can do to help this. It's like just how it is, right? You're just helpless. It's victim mentality. And the problem with this is that people with the fixed mindset tend not to focus on themselves. They don't focus on how they can improve themselves, because they think that's a fruitless endeavor. Instead, they try and manipulate the environment. So let me give a contextual example of this. Let's say we have somebody with a fixed mindset and they take a writing test. First of all, let's say they get a good result in this writing test. So now, this person with the fixed mindset believes that they are a good writer. They don't believe that they wrote a good test. They believe that they are a good writer. They believe that genetically they are a superior writer. This is all well and good at the surface. This is still a positive belief. But the problem is, people with the fixed mindset don't ever want to put that belief in jeopardy. They don't ever want to realize that, oh, actually, maybe I'm not a good writer after all. So in this example, this person won't want to, in all likelihood, prove that he is a good writer again and again and again, for fear that he wasn't actually a good writer in the first place. That would be an assault on his self-esteem, and that would hurt his confidence, and also just destroy this belief that he's a good writer, where he's getting a sense of self-worth from. On the flip side, if somebody with a fixed mindset takes a writing test and they do badly, that's equally destructive, because now he's like, well, I'm just a bad writer, there's nothing I can do about this, so in order to not feel so bad next time I have to write, I'm gonna try and avoid the test, or maybe I'm going to try and cheat on the test, or maybe I'll just lie to my parents and my friends about the results I got. Basically, the focus is on all the wrong places. It's on all external things, rather than being on himself, rather than focus on his core skill of writing. Of course, those with the growth mindset are completely different. If somebody with a growth mindset does well at something, that's like a positive feedback loop. That's like saying, working on my skills is working. I'm actually I'm building my skill up. So they tend to do it even more, to get even more of a positive feedback loop. It becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It becomes like a positive upward spiral for them. And if they experience failure, then they feel bad about that. So they work harder, so they don't ever feel bad about that again. So if they have a bad test result, somebody with a growth mindset is more likely to just get writing, you know, practice their writing, put the hours in, so that they don't ever get a bad test result going forward. That's the fundamental difference between the two mindsets. So the net result of this, Carol says, is that those with a growth mindset tend to keep on improving over time. They just tend to, over the years, you can see students, they just get better and better test results, whereas those with a fixed mindset tend to just stagnate. So we can clearly see now how important it is to have this belief, this core belief, that your ability can be improved over time. So there are two important caveats to this growth mindset theory. First is that it's contextual. So you can feel like you can improve your ability in one area, but be very much stuck in a fixed mindset in another area. So let me give you an example. You may feel that in sport you're really good and you can get better because you can practice harder and you can put the hours in, and you'll get into the high school team as long as you work hard. But over here you might feel like you never earn a six-figure salary because you have limiting beliefs about money, for example. The other thing is, it's not like a 1 or 0 proposition. It's not a Boolean. It's more like a scale. It's more like a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is fixed mindset and 10 is growth mindset. And so in each area, you kind of need to see where you are at on this scale. Often you won't be a 0 and you won't be a 10. So if you realize that you have this fixed mindset thing going on in your life, what can you do about it? How can you kind of invigorate this sense of a growth mindset? The first thing to realize is that a fixed mindset is a belief, and beliefs can be changed. But the major way to change a belief is to just stack up a shitload of evidence to the contrary, essentially. Just like keep looking for references that invalidate your premise. And one of the best ways to do that with this is to read a bunch of books that talk about things like deliberate practice and mastery. There's a whole range of books talking about this, and in these books they give example after example after example of people that have done amazing things, but when you peel back the surface, they look like they're genetically, or they look like they're naturally talented, but it's actually just thousands of hours of practice to get to that point. So here's some books I recommend to give you that foundational knowledge. This will give you a great starting point. So firstly, read this book, which is Mindset by Dweck. I recommend also to read a book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport, Talent is Overrated by Jeff Colvin, and Peak by Anders Ericsson, Mastery by Robert Greene. Read all of those books, and if you just read that over the next 4 or 5 weeks, already that's probably going to obliterate any belief you have that talent is genetic and innate and something you're born with. But beyond this, another thing you can do, another interesting exercise, is identify someone you look up to. So a hero of yours, or identify somebody who is much further along in the field that you want to be good at. Look at how and what steps they did to get to where they are. This is a great exercise because often we believe that people just have this kind of natural ability, but when you peel back the layers, when you actually look beneath the surface, the evidence is there. They've always put in the time and effort to get to where they are. They've always put in the hours, and this evidence, these reference points, they'll start to stack up, and especially when they come from different sources, right? Basically, as all these reference points gather up, your initial premise that your ability is fixed and it can't be improved will just look stupid. So the key takeaways from this book are, you really need to cultivate a belief that you can improve your abilities over time. You need to adopt this growth mindset if you want to fulfill your potential in pretty much all areas of your life. That's number 1. Point 2, to cultivate this belief, look for a lot of references that support this idea. They are out there. Read the books, look around you, uncover the stories of people that you look up to, and you'll realize that success and great achievement is pretty much all the same. It's like people just dedicate hours and hours and hours to improving their skill and beating on their craft. This is a great book, read it. And also, one thing I want from you is that if you identify that you have a fixed mindset in one area of your life, leave me a comment below and let's get a discussion going.